What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the shop. Last video we got most of this little guy buttoned up. Still waiting on some parts for that, but I did get my new intake manifold, and you guessed it, it's an eBay Speedmaster. But much like the other one that came on the 289, that was gasket and port match to the heads, I gotta do the same thing with this. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Kind of see the casting in there, a little rough. Get this thing flipped over. I've already put tape on it too, so I'm going to start with this side. We'll go ahead and get that side marked, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, or show you what I do to mark it up. You can see in there kind of the little sharp edges. If I come back a little bit, it's kind of misshaped. Weird little edges on the sides there. Some of these, I can't really, not a whole lot of light, but the casting's just not the best in the world, but I mean, it worked great for naturally aspirated. Don't get me wrong, I ran it naturally aspirated on the 289 before I started to do, before I went turbo, and they worked really good, but the ports on those heads are much larger. You see here, and you can see here's the gasket that I've been using. It's a Felpro gasket. And if I line the gasket up to the intake manifold here, you can kind of see, there you go. Pretty close. But you can see how much of the intake still could be trimmed to square it up. Especially if you line that side up where she's supposed to be there. You can see I can definitely square those ports up so they won't be so crooked. They'll match the gasket and they'll match my heads, which will work out great for the turbo. But I'm gonna go ahead and get my little camera set up, show you what I use to mark it, and then the tools I'm gonna use to clean it up. All right, see I got the edge of this side of the intake manifold all taped off. Now what I do, it's real simple because it comes off too with brake cleaner. Pretty much just runs off when you spray it. But I'll grab a nice fresh can of, if I can get the cap off. There it goes. Just black spray paint. Kind of stand back a little bit. Get some of the stuff out of the way and just mist the base of the intake. That's it. And since she's got black on it, you don't need to paint it 100%. It's just there for a guide. So you don't have to get all crazy and make sure she's completely black. Or red, or whatever color you want to use. I just like using black because the contrast it shows up really good. So basically just let it mist, plus it dries faster. I don't gotta sit here and wait for it to completely dry. If it was a nice thick coat, put a thin coat on there, you can definitely see the color change. And it's already starting to get dry to touch. So while I'm waiting for that to dry though, before I stick that gasket on there and scribe it, I like to use, see I get her to focus in on there. Nice big tooth aluminum bit. Also purchased from eBay, very cheap. I've had them for a while. They tend to actually, as long as you don't abuse them too much, they last for a long time. But all right, I think it's dry enough there. So set your gasket up on top. And I'll line it up to the edges, make sure the holes are centered. Because I know once the intake's on, it'll sit right up against that edge. And that's just exactly how I did it last time. It worked out really well for me. So she's lined up. You don't have to get too carried away, but the closer you are, the better your job will come out. And I just use just a pick. I've got it sharpened. Slightly go around the edge of the inside edge of the gasket. It definitely scratches the paint. Go around all 4 ports. Really nice too, because I like it. It'll definitely help us straighten this port up here, because that is a funny shape. I don't remember my other one being that funny shape, but like I said too, you don't have to do all this work if you're going to stay naturally aspirated. Works fairly well. But once you got them scratched out, pull your gasket away. Now you can see the outline of where the gasket was, and line it up to where it's supposed to be. You can see it lines up, and it did. I know it was kind of hard to see on camera, but it does line up. The gasket did line up with this edge right on the edge. And you can see where the rest of the port that's scratched that we can clean up. And then I've got a long bit too I'll use to kind of get down up inside there to get rid of some of the awkward edge. Like this has got a shelf on it on the back side. Well, you can see it. You can see it's kind of flat right here, but on the back side it kind of dives in a little bit. So we'll clean that up too. Get down as far in there as we can and get it cleaned up. Hopefully get it to flow a little bit nicer or a little bit better than it would right now with the turbo. So anyways, I'm gonna get myself set up, get my air compressor fired up. We'll start cleaning up the intake. Right, got the first 2 runners done. Jake's up here helping me out. But anyways, give you a nice little close-up of the first 2. You can see that guy there. Yeah, second one, got it cleaned up. Now just so you have something to compare to, you can see those 2 to those 2. See where the line's at. And of course you got this big old jump right here in the runner. You can see where it comes in from where the carburetor or the throttle body would sit. And it's just got this big old ledge. Same on this back one here. So we'll go back to the front 2. See, we cut that ledge out, opened it all the way up to our line we scribed for where the gasket was. All the way around for both. Come back a little bit, you can see it's a much smoother transition. Might have to clean that one up just a little bit more, but As you can see, they're getting pretty close. I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, and we're using that guy right there. Whoop. That bit. We start off with that one, and then I go into, yeah, so start off with that little guy right there. Get the kind of get the baseline around where the edge was, where we scribed for our gasket. Then I'll go back in through all of them and kind of get farther up on the runners. And then once we're finished with all the runners, we'll go ahead and flip the intake over and start cleaning up the all the little dividers in there. You can see where the casting is. Now I didn't clean up the dividers on my other intake. So, but while I'm still waiting on parts, we'll go ahead and get all this kind of a little more of an edge on it so the air doesn't run into a wall. Just kind of gets cut somewhat evenly. Has a better flow path for the air to go in through. But yeah, so get myself hooked back up, start cleaning up the next ones. Right, you see we got all our ports all opened up. Definitely a little more uniform, a little more square. Not so bean shaped per se. Kind of give you a look there. As you can see, we have opened them up quite a bit. And I've only gone up inside about maybe 1.5 inches or so. Anywhere between 1 inch and 1.5 inches using the small bit that we have on our die grinder. So I'm going to go ahead and put this big old guy on our die grinder, get farther up the runners a little bit, take care of some of the imperfections in the castings, just basically the edges and anything that's hanging off from the molds they used. And get this thing flipped around and start cleaning up the inside there. Kind of get this little edge cleaned up so it's not so sharp. Kind of, well, as you can see if we can get it to kind of flow into the port a little bit better. Get rid of some of these walls here where it's a big old wall. Just kind of sharpen it up a little bit. These ones aren't too bad. We're just going to give it a little bit more of an edge there, kind of smooth it up. And I can't show you, it's really hard, but over here on this port, I don't know if you can get up in there, barely see it, but oh, you might be able to. There's some slag sticking out from the casting in there. I was able to reach in there a little bit earlier and pull out a couple little pieces. I tossed them. Should have saved them so I could show you guys, but when you buy these things, the cheaper manifolds of them, it's a good idea to get in there and check. Just make sure there's nothing left of the aluminum from the casting for when it was molded hanging off. Last thing you want to do is get that sucked up into your heads. So, all right, but I'm gonna get this thing hooked up, start going in from the top, get farther down in the runners, get them all cleaned up and smoothed out. So yeah, let's do it. All right, we got her all ported out. See if I can get you guys a picture of what it looked like before. And what it looks like now. See, no more walls. Just nice sharp edges all the way around. Try to roll it in. Straighten up all the ports as best as possible. Just try to get rid of any of the flaws, imperfections. You know, it's a cheap manifold. Anything we can do to it helps smooth it out, so give us a little bit more airflow. Definitely helps with the turbo. Now, I'm not going to say you have to do this. You could buy it, just slap it on your car, throw a turbo on it. It'd probably work out just fine. But I figured, why not? Everything we do here is, you know, everything I do is kind of a learning experience. I like to take the gaskets, make sure everything matches. And plus, it's a cheaper manifold too. You noticed when I did show you that all the ports were kind of off shaped, kind of funny. So we just basically went in, straightened up all the ports, made sure they matched the gasket. The heads have already been done once before to those same gaskets, so I did make sure to buy the same gaskets. The only tricks or tips I want to give you, if you do plan on doing this, one, plan on spending at least 6 hours of your time doing it. Just put some music on in the background. Have at it. Make sure you get yourself one of these bits here. Yeah, I got this one off eBay. They're not expensive. This particular one's already gone through 2 or 3 manifolds. And get yourself one of these longer ones so you can get up inside the runners. You want to grab the ones for aluminum. They don't clog up on you. For whatever reason, you use the ones like the finer tooth ones. You can use WD-40 on them, and it'll help keep the aluminum from sticking to it, but it's eventually going to clog up on you still. So, but that, and don't go into it planning on changing the port size. Just go into it planning on just straightening out the ports. And then once you straighten the ports out, you'll see up in the runner and everything else you might want to fix and flatten out. But yeah, so we got the intake manifold all done. Everything's port matched. Again, not something you have to do, but I like doing it. Any little bit helps. And yeah, it's a cheap manifold. All learning experience for you, for me. Just have fun. See what we can get out of these things. You know, I think the Victor one that you can buy from Metalbrock, I think they're over 400. I've seen them on eBay and at a Summit and Jegs. This one was 220 bucks. My pops actually got it for me. Likes my videos, wanted to help me out, so he hooked us up with this manifold. A couple other little things too. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video right here. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Turn on notifications, hit that like button, share with your friends. Absolutely love the comments you guys are leaving me. Definitely motivates me, inspires me to keep going, make more videos. So if there's anything else you guys want to see or have me kind of go in a little more depth or try to explain how I did it, then yeah, just leave a comment. You can also follow me on Instagram, JohnnyBiggs_ToyShopFab. I generally post pictures way before the video ever comes out. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can find me there. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.